Hey everyone, it's time for my month 3 update for my Korean project. My 3 months are up, and as this video goes live, I'll be making my way to South Korea for the very first time in my life. And I'm so excited to finally get to use the language I've devoted so much of my time to since mid-February. So I've continued to make progress since that last video, and it's hard to know exactly where I am in the language before I'm truly immersed in it to find out in Seoul. But by my estimate, I'm very solidly at the lower intermediate or B1 level in the language in terms of what I can comfortably do right now. But the good news is I've got a certain vocabulary and grammar from a B2 level internalized pretty well. Not enough yet that it's actually flowing out of me to count as fluency, but depending on how immersed I am for those 3 months I'm about to spend in South Korea, I may well still reach my fluency goal, even if it took me 4, 5 or 6 months instead of 3. And you know what? I'm fine with that. As I said in the beginning, reaching lower intermediate level was my baseline that I needed to make sure I could function independently as I explore and travel South Korea. But until I reach a fluent level, I still need people to be patient with me as they speak, which will make it harder to make friends, so hopefully I'll still reach my fluency goal. I'll be uploading short videos to my social media accounts first, and when I feel like I'm at a decent milestone, I'll share a more in-depth video on this channel too, so don't worry, you'll be seeing that. Now, looking back on the last 3 months, I wouldn't necessarily say I should have worked harder, because I was truly focused on Korean for most of the day, 7 days a week. But there are a few takeaways that I'm going to keep in mind for future projects. First, as I said in my last update video, I got a little too focused on flashcards for a large chunk of the project. In the last month, I found a much better balance by only trying to stay on top of my flashcards once every 3 days. So I had more time to go through my other materials on the other 2 days. Secondly, I was definitely getting more burnt out in the second half of the project. So I think taking several days or even a week off could have really helped me to recharge my batteries to come in with more energy. In previous projects, I was more social and had downtime, but I wasn't social at all these 3 months. It meant that I had more time to study, but the quality of the study wasn't quite what it could have been. So in future projects, I'll have to figure out how to find a better balance somehow while still being intensive. Third, I wasn't learning as much in a community as I could have been. That would have alleviated a lot of the feeling of loneliness that was definitely prevalent in this project and slowed me down a bit. In the first month though, I was checking in regularly to the bootcamp that I run with other learners, and that sense of community was a huge booster. And you're welcome to join it yourself, since there are always a bunch of encouraging language learners and polyglot coaches who offer support, advice and encouragement. So check that out at fi3m.com/bc if you're curious. But I should have checked into the community much more regularly after the first month, so I do regret not keeping that up in month 2 and 3. Failing that, without an online learning community in future, maybe next time I'll learn it alongside other people for that sense of community. But in an online community, you have the advantage that you can do it pretty much anywhere in the world. And I do feel like choosing a cheap, tropical, relaxing place like Bali definitely worked to my advantage in this project. And finally, this is the first new language learning project I've had in 10 entire years. And I'm freshly recovered from a lot of difficult life challenges, including clinical depression, and of course, the global pandemic keeping me from socializing and practicing languages. So that was going to be the case regardless, but I've seen that in this project, I've got that momentum back. And that will mean in future projects, I should be back into the swing of things to do it even smoother for the next time. So those are my thoughts on the 3 months up to this point. Now, like I said, I'm very pleased with the work I put in, and I am happy with the level that I've reached. And I'm so excited to finally get to use my Korean. The consistent practice in a more natural and social environment could be the missing pieces that I need to finally reach fluency. I will update you either way on how it's going very soon, but until then, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you in bootcamp. And until the next time, happy language learning.